Welcome to Just Love Live. I'm your host today, Sandra Haywood. By day, I'm the Director of Agency Relations for Catholic Charities, Archdiocese of New York. And by trade, I'm an attorney and a social worker. Catholic Charities is a federation of 90 or so human service organizations across 10 New York counties, and I support the work they do daily. Thank you for tuning into our monthly show, where we will discuss major issues facing everyday New Yorkers, from housing and food insecurity to eviction prevention and workforce development. We will also look at how Catholic Charities of New York and the greater human services community is responding to these needs and providing help to the most vulnerable amongst us. In the first segment of this episode, we will discuss the importance of mentoring young people, more specifically young men, offered by Bigs and Littles NYC mentoring programs. Bigs and Littles is one of our 90 agencies of Catholic Charities. The second segment will focus on the work by Catholic Charities Community Services in Westchester, Putnam, and Bronx counties. Bigs and Littles NYC Mentoring Services strives to transform the lives of children through one-on-one mentoring while strengthening entire families in hardship. Bigs and Littles' vision is to have a city in which all young people are empowered to recognize, reach for, and achieve their full potential. Please welcome our guests, Susan Varghese, the Chief Program Officer of Bigs and Littles Mentoring, and Daniel Haurey, a mentor. Susan Varghese joined Bigs and Littles NYC Mentoring in 2012, and she holds a master's in social work from Columbia University. Danny, as he is affectionately called, has been a big brother, or big, at Bigs and Littles Mentoring since 2023. He holds a BA in political science, magna cum laude from Colgate University, and now works at Paul Weiss LLP, where he is a corporate paralegal. Danny recently joined Bigs and Littles Junior Board to deepen his involvement with the organization. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we're gonna jump in. Bigs and Littles has been, an organization transforming the lives of youth in New York City for about 122 years now. So can you tell me what makes Bigs and Littles Mentoring so special?
Yeah, I mean, we've been around, as you said, since 1902, and we have been the founders of the nationwide Big Sister Girls Mentoring Movement. And with that, we've just been so pivotal, I feel, in our community, as we've really been a way as a form of uniting the different New York City communities, all while really helping our families just to strive and to do the best that they can. A lot of our families that we serve, or all of our families that we serve, are coming from marginalized communities. So it's really important for us to be a form of access to them, a resource, and really empowering our littles to achieve their dreams.
So tell me why mentoring is important.
Absolutely. So I feel everyone can use a mentor, right? I mean, all of us, no matter what stage in our life, right, can always use one. But I think especially for our families and the children coming from really hard socioeconomic backgrounds, low-income backgrounds, it really it's an important factor for them to have a role model, someone like Danny, to be able to go to talk to, be a sounding board, a thought partner, someone to inspire them. Far often when we ask our parents, why do you want to have your child part of our mentoring program? The first thing that they say is that I don't have that time to give that one-on-one. Especially a lot of our parents, being single parent moms, are often working 2+ jobs, working, to just make ends meet and trying to stay afloat. So for us, they really see us as an agency, as well as the Big, as a real part of their family and their support system.
So can you tell me a little bit about the littles that seek your services? What are their ages? Are they in school? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit.
Yeah, so our children can really enroll into the program between the ages of 7 to 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
So what we have noticed is that a lot of the families that do come through our doors are usually coming between that middle school and early high school age. And as we all can recollect, that's just a trying period for a lot of kids. So for often they come during then, and our kids are coming from public schools, charter schools, and really our kids that want to be part of the program. We really make sure during our interview process that we interview the child and the parents separately to really make sure that all parties, especially the child, wants to have a mentor.
So I know personally that you guys provide services to the entire family. Can you tell me a little bit about that model and why it's so important to uplift the entire family of the little?
Absolutely. So as an organization, and you should kind of mention at the beginning, is that we really believe a child can be as only healthy as their family. So it's important that we're not only supporting the child by giving a mentor, but really supporting that whole family. So really that family systems approach is something that we really believe in. And what that means is that, for example, when our kids come into our program, they work on goals with their mentors. So simultaneously, our parents have the opportunity to create goals as well. And it can vary from, building a healthier lifestyle, having more stronger relationships, or even, going back to school, starting a new job. So something that gives them their own set of goals is something that our social workers, our program managers works closely with the parents. One thing to also note is that, we have our matches get together twice a month for 1 year, which is great. But in order for them to stay connected with the agency, we do host year-round life skills programming, like workshops. And that's where we invite the matches, we invite the families, and it can range from topics from financial literacy to building healthy relationships. So it's really important that we're really working and supporting the whole entire family.
Wow. What's the attendance like at those life skills programs? Do most families participate? Do you have a hard time getting families to participate? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for our families, so we try to do it once a month. The requirements for our match is that they get together twice a month for 1 year. And so to kind of offset sometimes the pressure maybe of what are we gonna do for this month, we're always like, you guys can always come back to the home base. We have a great location, the Lower East Side, a wonderful space, an open gym, and we often do our workshops there. We also invite some of our partners from our community-based organizations to facilitate these workshops. Our thinking is that we are the experts in mentoring, but at any time families, there are some needs outside of mentoring, we make sure that we have like a referral source, a pool that we can tap into, whether it be for housing, after school education. And for our families, they know they always can come to us for anything. So tonight itself, we have our Mentoring Moms and Dads event. And this is a program we started a couple years ago where we've always heard our parents asking, hey, I want to mentor too. So you know what? We're like, why don't we do it? We're listening to our community, and we started the program, and some of our parents that want to have their own mentor have actually had their mentor while their child is simultaneously being matched as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned family and community a lot.
Yeah.
From the model of Bigs and Littles, how do you think it impacts the entire community? How does one-on-one mentoring and the model of mentoring impact the greater community?
Absolutely. I think one-on-one mentoring is so important and critical. Like I mentioned, I feel anyone can benefit from having a mentor, but especially the kids that we serve could really benefit from it. I think the fact that they can have someone that they can turn to outside of mom or outside of their grandparent that's kind of with them to be able to be like, hey, I'm kind of going through this. Can you help me kind of navigate that, right? To have that one person you can trust and confide in really can make a difference. So I think by us pouring into that child, pouring into that family, it's helping them kind of become a better version of themselves, right? And be able to then contribute to society as well.
How does Bigs and Littles model differ from other mentoring programs?
Great question. So, I think a lot of mentoring programs out there are fantastic and do such great work. We have some models that are different that might be online mentoring or programs that really focus on just the child. But for us, we really feel that the most impactful programs are the ones that are meeting in person, that building that one-to-one connection, all while strengthening the entire family. So for us, that's what makes us unique, pouring into not just the child, but providing those intensive support services for families. And we really feel that will really help with the child being able to accomplish short and long-term success.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah.
So speaking of impressive, you bought one of your impressive mentors.
Yes, you definitely did.
So Danny, how did you get involved with Bigs and Littles?
Yeah, so actually someone I work with who's on the board, Sherry, she just happened to catch me on a day, I was having a bad day at work. And I was going home probably to go watch the Nets lose another game. It was a tough season that season. And I was getting on the subway, and she told me she was going downtown to Biggs and Littles. And I'd been new to New York City, just getting my bones here. And, she told me about it, and I said, wow, it seems like a great way to give back to the community. And I just kind of did it. I just kind of leapt in, did it, and it's one of the best decisions I've made since, and it was all because of that one little conversation. And very happy I'm here.
That's inspiring. Well, first, go Knicks, but second, so tell me a little bit about your little.
Yeah, so my little, he's great. He's a tenacious, very confident young guy. He's very easy to talk to and very approachable, and he'll approach anyone. So that's one of the great qualities about him. We both share a love of sports. I mentioned I'm a Nets fan. Unfortunately, he's not. I'm a Giants fan. Unfortunately, he's a Cowboys fan. So
lots of rivalry.
Yeah,
Yes.
We have some arguments about that, but we bond a lot over sports. And like I said, he's very active, very approachable, and can approach anyone, can talk to anyone. So it's great.
So what are some of the things you do with your little outside of talk sports?
Talk more sports. And play sports. So we utilize the gym at Biggs and Littles a lot, which is a great resource. And I tried to give Tyler some experiences that I really enjoyed as a young kid, and that my dad was able to give me. For example, we recently went to the Intrepid over here on the river, and that was a fantastic experience. So just, trying to keep him active, trying to do fun boy things with him, and trying to give him, some of those memories that I had when I was younger that stuck with me.
Wow. So we don't have much time left, but I do want to ask you, since male mentoring is so unique, what are some of the requirements to become a male mentor, but also just a mentor in general at Biggs and Littles?
Yeah. Well, I'll speak really briefly on this. I'm sure Susan can help me. I think one of the requirements is to have enough time to meet at least twice a month. I like to try to shoot for more than that. And just, to keep an open mind, because I was nervous about this at first, but my gosh, I'm so happy I did it. So.
And so really quickly, tell us how more people can get involved with Biggs and Littles.
Absolutely. So I would definitely encourage everyone to go to our website, www.biggsandlittlesnyc.org. And from there, there's a way of how to get involved. You can either go that way, or you can email volunteers@biggsandlittlesnyc.org.
Awesome. So you guys are always recruiting.
We're always recruiting. Our doors are open 24 hours, 7 days a week, all year round. So we definitely encourage men to come through, as we have a lot of boys that are waiting to be matched, and single moms that really want more male mentor role models for our kids. So, and definitely be 21 years and older.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Danny and Susan, for such an informative conversation. For our viewers, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Catholic Charities Community Services provides essential support to New Yorkers in need across various counties. In the Bronx, Westchester, and Putnam counties, services include benefits and entitlement assistance, eviction prevention, utility assistance, financial literacy, and immigration legal assistance. In Westchester County, there are weekly ESOL programming for beginners. Born and raised in the South Bronx, Father Cruz is a double Dahmer, that is a double graduate of the University of Notre Dame, earning a BA in American Studies in 1986 and a master's in nonprofit administration in 2011. He was ordained in 2003 and has been with Catholic Charities since 2011, while still serving as a pastor in several Bronx parishes. He is now the director of Catholic Charities Community Services for Westchester, Putnam, and Bronx counties. Welcome to the show, Father Cruz. It's a mouthful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good being here.
So we're going to jump right in. There's been a lot of mention of newly arrived migrants in New York City, but not much about the surrounding counties. Can you tell us a little bit about the impact that's made on some of the surrounding counties and the work that you've been doing?
Sure. The challenges in the counties in comparison to the city, the 5 boroughs specifically, isn't much different. The foundational issues and concerns of working with and welcoming these migrants, newcomers, regardless of nation or culture or origin, are really fundamental and complex. They're coming to a foreign land with such a complex, occasionally tedious and challenging processes and systems for just arriving.
Right.
Catholic Charities, Community Services, Case Management, and it's particularly Immigration Refugee Services are tasked with offering the navigation and the accompaniment with these families, the parents and even the individuals, of course, not all are families, in the completion of legal documents, the filing of documents, translation services of said documents, right? And at the same time accessing, learning medical care, how to access that, how to access or provide and guide them for housing, employment, eventually more local ESL classes, accompanying families to register kids in schools, and acknowledging that there's going to be a cultural language barrier in most of those cases, right? And offering even further advocacy services, legal citizenship applications, and learning that process. And at the same time, with all of this, helping them integrate culturally and linguistically in the whatever local community. The end vision is that they build a home and become real, true members of local communities and the community at large, city, state, and eventually the nation, please God, and helping them through all these stresses. It really begins with building trust and making sure that we are with them all the way through, and at the same time helping them persevere and discover what they truly need and the education they need so that they could advance and settle and be really, really contributors and build a family.
Wow, that's a lot. What do you noticed in your experience of some of the immediate and short-term needs? Like, is it clothing? Is it what are you noticing and what are you experiencing?
Once we get beyond the processes, once that begins and the settling in, then the obvious: food, employment. Where are they going to live and reside? What are those dynamics? How do we partner on their behalf with local resources, agencies, or governments to access that type of response? Right? Clothing, winter, coming from the warm climate, it's November, December in New York.
Right.
The looking to the summer, helping with that. And perhaps even those cases that would require and ask us to connect them with perhaps relatives or sponsors in other parts of the country. That's a population that's often not thought about, but is certainly part of the solution in addressing familial and personal needs. So basic daily necessities of just surviving, mom, dad with kids.
If there's family in other parts of the country, or how does Catholic Charities support, first locate and then support some of those needs?
Yeah, through case management. Immigration Refugee Services also has case management.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But initially, for example, in the crisis, Catholic Charities and maybe one or two other agencies collaborated with the City of New York for the intake. Once they arrive, they come through the intake process. Satellite locations were set up by agreement, for example, with the city government / state per borough. As an example, in the counties, we have day laborer centers that sort of serve as those welcome centers to the new arrivals. So it's a matter of collaboration. There isn't one dimension that's going to address this fully and completely. This must be a collaborative effort between charitable agencies like Catholic Charities, our staffs, and our relationships to advocate and to access. And we know that there's a ceiling, if you will, in terms of resources. They're not unlimited. So how do we constant question and revisit it? How do we look to what new partners might be able, and that even engaging church communities in this collaborative effort is essential, because they're the welcome.
Right.
They're the hands in the face of the mission, and to invite them in. There is a place for everyone in this work, so please join us.
So you mentioned day laborers. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know there's multiple sites. Can you tell us about the impact and the work that is done at the Day Laborer Center? Sure.
The day laborers, many New Yorkers around the country would see gathering spots. Normally, mostly men with a background in landscaping or construction work. That's generally speaking. And they're usually gathered near highways, Home Depot type stores, where there's easy access. They could, please God, be employed. And so that's a pickup space, and ideally the drop-off space at the end of the day, or whatever length of work is offered them. A day laborer center is a refuge, in a sense, where folks who arrive here with their skill set from Venezuela, from Mexico, from Africa, from the Sudan, wherever it might be, would come. Many come afraid. They might believe they know their rights, but they don't perhaps in this country or state. So to be educated in your rights, they'll be afraid to even affirm their rights because of the fear of being terminated or no longer being offered a job, or imprisonment or intimidation. So all of the day laborer sites would provide, for example, OSHA training in accord with city laws, employment laws, or state laws, educational classes, the ESL, perhaps even resume writing, or looking ahead, many might have a propensity to business.
Oh, wow, okay.
So how do we connect them perhaps to Office of New Americans to develop that education, that power, if you will, that you could start your own. Maybe it's going to be out of your home, but you can eventually grow your own business with the proper support and guidance. Knowing your rights through our immigration refugee centers, workshops, how to defend yourself in case and not put yourself at risk at a construction site. We've had tragic tales of workers going to construction sites not knowing the risk, being sent and buried alive.
Oh my God.
And many who would not survive that. So then working with the city to revise those regulations and rules as advocates, along with many others who experience the same thing around the city, to prevent exactly that. But teaching the workers and those families how to protect yourself in advance. These are your rights.
Wow.
Whether you're undocumented or not. These are your rights. To learn all of that, how to prepare documentation if there are rumors of deportations and arrests going on. So how do you safeguard key documents, and what are those documents? And I haven't even mentioned wage exploitation. Learning
Wow.
that and teaching about that and being advocates for that. Our Day Laborer Center in Westchester, or the Day Laborer Program, just recently, a year or so ago, won a case of $60,000 on salary due.
Wow.
And some workers may go months, if not years, without pay.
So before we run out of time, Father Cruz, I want to talk about some of the events you've been doing at the Day Laborer Center, or for the participants in the Day Laborer Center, specifically around Father's Day and celebrating workers.
It's important. The collar is a dead giveaway, isn't it? That we as Catholic Charities, as faith community entrusted with a mission, engage them in that mission. The reason being Joseph, father and laborer. It's important to know, and it's such a beautiful truth revealed to us in Scripture. Our Lord engaged in manual labor before he began the public ministry.
A special thank you to our guests for sharing the great work that they do, providing mentoring services at Bigs and Littles. And another thank you to Father Cruz and Catholic Charities Community Services in Westchester, Putnam, and the Bronx for supporting newly arrived immigrants and day laborers. Catholic Charities provides help and creates hope to those in need year-round. Please consider getting involved by volunteering, donating, or contacting us if you need help. To our viewers, in June, we celebrate. So happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth. Thank you so much for watching.